Hello, my name is Kimberly Firos, and this is like take 3 of this recording because I keep getting interrupted, but we're trucking through. This is for Project 1 for Philosophy of Art, and I'm going to be talking about my experience with a painting that I found at an art gallery. And I want to give a little bit of context for this painting because I do not know if a lot of people know about this particular art gallery. It was my first time visiting this art gallery or finding out about it. I don't know if a lot of people know a lot of stuff about art galleries. So yeah. So this art gallery is called Doriva Local Art Source, and it's at Lock and Terra. And I stumbled upon it because UTSA was having a Six Flags event. And while my brother and I were waiting for the event to start, we were just walking around, and then we accidentally stumbled upon like this art gallery, and we decided to take a look inside, and it was a very beautiful place. It was filled to the brim with art and so many different styles of art. It was amazing. And both times I went, the first time I went and the second time I went to go look at the painting again for this project, there were actual artists there who were painting different pieces. So this art gallery sources from local artists all over San Antonio, and I think that is so cool because I think it's so cool to know that these pieces are from local artists all around San Antonio. Like, I truly admire artists. So to see all these paintings from artists in our local area, I just thought it was so cool. And yeah, so I think that's all the context that I can think of at the moment that I want to give for this painting. So I'm going to go ahead and just jump into the painting. So my painting, it was painted by David A. Garcia, and the name of the painting is Immersed. So you guys have the photos I took and submitted, but I also went ahead and printed it out for my presentation just so I could have something to fumble with a little bit, and just so I could point out some features of the art, because why not? So yeah, let's get started. So like I said, I was completely drawn to this photo. There's so many gorgeous pieces at this art gallery, but for some reason this particular piece of art just stood out to me. This painting stuck with me, and after the first time I left, I just knew I was gonna, like, when you guys assigned this project, I just knew that I was gonna do this painting. Like, right away I was like, what am I gonna do it on? And I was like this painting, I'm just gonna do it on this painting. So I went back again to do it and watched it for a few more minutes, and I just was so drawn to it. The feeling I get when I look at this art piece is I just feel like lost. I feel lost in the painting. Like, there's so many things that draw me to this painting out of all the others. First off, I just think it's so beautiful, and second, I just love like the insane amount of detail that this painting has. Like, it has, if you look at the edges of this painting, they're all fingerprints. All this black part all around is fingerprints, and I don't know why, but I really like that detail. And I don't know how to explain it, but I feel like it adds to the immersed aspect of this painting. And then how it has these squiggly lines, which I feel also add to it. But I mainly want to talk about the faces. But before I talk about the faces, I just want to talk about a little bit in the background of this, in the immersion, if you would say, there's a bunch of different like squiggles. It's not all one way. Some of them are kind of like shapes, and some of them are kind of just like zigzagged per se, like all around it. And I feel like that adds to like the kind of confusing feeling that I kind of got. Like, because it's just like there's so many different shapes and so many different things going on in the painting. I just kind of made me feel all over the place. And then I want to talk about particularly the faces. So I'm going to talk about first this face in particular, because this face sticks out in the painting. If you look up close, or I don't know how close I can get it, this is a clay figure that is 3D in the painting. It's not just painted on, it's a 3D thing, and it sticks out. It's like, that's not a really good thing, but like it's a decent size. It looks like a face, and it's really, really detailed. There's not a lot of painting over it, which I really liked, because you can just see the texture of the face, or the way that the person's kind of sculpted it, and like you can see the imprint of the person's eyelashes, of their eyebrows, of their lips, of their nose, and you can really tell that this is a person's face, a particular person's face, and I really enjoyed that about this painting. And then I want to talk about these, how many? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So these 4 in particular, I'm going to talk about these first. You can just tell these are faces. And for me, something just feels off. Like, something just feels eerie to me in this painting. It's just like, I don't know, I just feel so drawn to it, but I also feel like kind of scared when I look at the faces in this painting. I don't know, it's really weird. And then I want to talk about this tiny, it's really hard to tell. Awesome. But this particular eye right here, because to me, that eye looks different from all the other ones. I think it is also an eye of a person, but the detail is different from other people's, and it's more like, I don't even know what I'm saying, but it just doesn't fully kind of look like the others, and I think it's kind of distinct. I don't know if it's a person or not, but that also just really stuck out to me. So yeah, overall, 10 out of 10. If I had the money and I wasn't a broke college student, I would buy this painting, because I just really like it, and I really enjoyed staring at it, and I really enjoyed looking at it for this project. Okay, so I want to transition a little bit into talking about some of the things that we talked about in class and that could pertain to art. So first off, I want to talk about Play-Doh. I wish Play-Doh could have been there with me when I went to look at this art piece, because I would have loved to see his reaction to this painting, particularly this painting, because for me, I just had such a strong reaction to this painting, and I was just so overwhelmed, and I would have loved to seen his reaction to it. Also because Play-Doh just hates art. He doesn't hate painting as much as he hates mimetic poetry, but he still really, really hates painting. And he says that people who do it are just making imitations. And while I don't think this is fully an imitation artwork, there are imitations, specifically of the faces. I think this is more of an abstract piece of art, but you can genuinely see there is an insane amount of detail given to the faces in this paintings. And yeah, those are imitations, at least what Play-Doh would call them. And I think that's very fascinating, because Play-Doh was afraid of like the feelings that art invokes in people, and I feel like I kind of get it in a way, as somebody who got so evoked by this painting. Also, my time's running out, so I'm gonna have to do another video. Yeah, I'll be right back. Hello, my name is Kimberly, and this is part 2 of project 1 for philosophy of art. That video got cut off. because I reached my time limit and I kind of lost my train of thought. But I remember talking about how Plato was afraid of the feelings that art could evoke in people. And I get it, like, art can evoke strong emotions and feelings and make you feel things that you wouldn't normally, like, just feel, like, kind of out of nowhere or just looking around. And that's something that this painting did to me, and I thought it was really cool, and I think it's really funny because I would have liked Plato to see this art piece. So I'm gonna go ahead and talk about another thing about this, and the next point I want to bring up is, okay, so the next point I want to talk about is the context of which we see an art piece in. So if I remember correctly, it's Berger or Berger. I don't remember how his name is pronounced. He talks about the context of a painting, and I thought it was interesting. I've never really thought of the context behind a painting before, and how he talks about the lighting, the music, and all the things that go into looking at the context of a painting, and how all these things just connect and bring, like, they can bring the painting to life or take away from the painting. And I think that the painting I saw was in the context that it was meant to be seen, because this is the original copy of the painting. There's only one of one, and it was in a beautifully lit area, really bright. You can see the photo right away, and it's very quiet. There's no music playing over to, like, evoke any emotions. It's only you and the art. It's you and the paintings that are plastered all over the walls. And I just think that's fascinating, how context and how, like, just your surroundings, and if there's music playing, if there's specific lighting that's hitting the painting in a specific way, it could potentially evoke different emotions or different feelings from a person. And I just thought that was really fascinating, and it really influenced my perspective when I went to go look at the painting again. I tried to pay attention to, like, the area and the surrounding, like, just my surroundings and what was happening around me when I went back to look at this art piece. So yeah, I'm gonna dive into my my last point, which was what Benjamin talked about. And okay, so Benjamin talked about the reproducibility of art and what photography brings to art, and how photography brings the aspect of, you can take a photo of an art piece and you can spread that around. You can show and you can give a photo to so many people, and they can see this art piece. In one of your lecture videos, you talked about the Mona Lisa, and that's kind of what I thought of when I was thinking of a painting that's really well known and that people will talk about or know of. It's the Mona Lisa. And even in this context and what I'm talking about, I'm sending you a photo. I'm sending you a photo and a video, and you get to see a photo of the painting. You're not even seeing the painting itself. And then not only that, I printed the painting as well. So it's a copy of a copy. And even that is, like, you can't see the full context. You can't see the immense detail. And not only that, I tried to print out some other pieces, but it's just way too up close, so the detail doesn't stick out. It's kind of faint. Low-key, this is kind of a fire print, not gonna lie. But yeah, I just thought that was fascinating, how he talks about how it brings a good thing in the sense that more people can consume art and more people can see these art pieces, but at the same time we don't get to see the art in its full context. We don't get to see the art as like intended. If I'm just looking at this photo, I genuinely don't think I'm getting the exact same emotions that were invoked in me when I see this painting in real life. Because especially now, a lot of modern paintings, there's a lot of texture, and especially in this painting there's a lot of texture, of the fingerprints, of the 3D face, and even just in the brush strokes. I feel like you can just see the intent behind the painter when you're able to examine an art piece up close and personal. So I think what Benjamin talks about is very important, because it brings good and bad to art. And yeah, I think that's all I really wanted to touch on. I really enjoyed this project. I'm not used to recording, so it really pushed me out of my comfort zone, so that's why I tried to record. So I would appreciate any positive feedback on how I could do better on a project like this. So if we have similar projects, what I could do better in my videos for you guys. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoy this video. If you guys have any more questions, please feel free to message me. And yeah, hope you guys have a good day, and goodbye.